Okay, after that นะครับ some of the output may have the specialized form นะครับ so many of the marketplaces requires many form of specialized outputs and devices. For example, some of the company นะครับ may need to have the output on portable devices or web connected devices นะครับ or some company would like to have the output on retail point of sales terminal. Point of sales terminal is here ครับ let me just show you the point of sales นะครับ we call it as POS machine นะครับ or POS terminal. So right now I think most of you have seen this kind of POS machines already นะครับ this is the current kind of POS machine when you just like go to buy something นะครับ for example you go to buy KFC นะครับ that comes with a POS machine like this that they can just like tap and then just like order the product for you นะครับ and the regular POS machine that you see nowadays, this one is like in 7-Eleven. It looks like this. It's a cash drawer underneath นะครับ and on the top it is just like the tablet นะครับ that they can tap on the screen นะครับ to choose the category or they can just like scan นะครับ the product of yours and the output can be shown on this screen or on the printer as well นะครับ this is POS machine after that นะครับ after that it might be the automatic teller machines or ATM, or we may have special purpose printers. For example, like the card printing for parking machine นะครับ the parking lot management system นะครับ something like that. After that นะครับ when you can see that right now many of the companies need to have like different kind of the output นะครับ different kind of the output just one below okay so นะครับ apart from output the next thing is input นะครับ input right now we have many technologies as well นะครับ quality of output is only good as the quality of the input นะครับ this one of thing you have to know นะครับ we have the word นะครับ that we usually use นะครับ in consulting area or in the system analyst we talk about garbage in garbage out you may have heard in some programming parts already นะครับ garbage in garbage out means that if you have the garbage into the system will produce the garbage out นะครับ to the users นะครับ or Kiko นะครับ objective of input design is to ensure the quality นะครับ the quality accuracy and the timeliness of input data. Good input design requires attention to human factors as well as technology issues นะครับ as well as technology issues. So in this one นะครับ if we are talking about input design นะครับ if the design is in a piece of paper just think first sometimes some of the information systems still need the input design to be on paper นะครับ and we may convert that kind of paper to be on the screen something like that so when we talk about the source documents and forms that users will fill up the data we have form layout นะครับ that okay how do we gonna set up our form to look like heading zone นะครับ what to be put on the heading zone it might be the name of the form it might be the control zone for example what is the form number when will be the valid date that users can enter the data into this form or when will the form is locked นะครับ or page number that you have on this form is page 1 out of how many pages นะครับ after that we have instruction zone instruction zone is that whenever you have to just like tell นะครับ the users how to use this form you may just like put it in the instruction zone. For example, just put the tick in front of every questions นะครับ or just use the text in English นะครับ to fill up this form นะครับ and so on. and after that you have body zone นะครับ okay, for the details that users have to fill in, and total zone in some of the documents นะครับ if it is about the currency นะครับ or if it is about the quantity, you just need to have the total as well. For example, if it is the order from the users นะครับ how many items in total that users order, or how much does the users order นะครับ but for some of the form they don't have the total zones นะครับ it depends on the design นะครับ and authorization zone นะครับ normally it's on the bottom part of the form or of the screen นะครับ it normally be in this way ครับ it might be in this way is the authorization zone. What is it for? Normally, authorization zone is a zone that the authorized people sign this form. For example, if this one is the order from customer นะครับ and it's a paper base, the authorization zone is the signature of the customer that I am the one who ordered this order, something like that. That is authorization zone. But if it is the electronic form, there's no need to have authorization zone, except some information system. You are the person who prepared this form นะครับ to purchase some products, but your boss has to approve. Then for the authorization zone, you may have a button to tick that who will be the authorized person. So when you submit this form to the system already, it just like forward to that person automatically for approval นะครับ next on we talk about source document and form นะครับ Dr. Jacob Nielsen นะครับ he believed that users scan a page picking out individual words and sentences นะครับ as a result, web designers must use scannable text to capture and hold users' attention นะครับ so that users can just like see it and understand what they want นะครับ and then attract the users on that one. The next one, when we talk about the input design นะครับ instead of having the form, but right now we move on to the screen instead นะครับ for the data entry screen we have the guideline for it as well. In order to enter the data into the screen นะครับ in the data entry screen, guideline number 1, restrict user access to screen location where data is entered นะครับ 2, provide a descriptive caption for every field and show the user where to enter data and the required or maximum field size. For example, if you want the users to enter password, you may say that, okay, to set up the password, at least how many characters? For example, you say that at least 8 characters that consists of at least 1 capital letter, 1 small letter, 1 special character, and 1 number, something like that. You have to let them know. Number 3, display a sample format if a user must enter values in a field in a specific format or a separator. For example, the one in iBanking that I told you, when it is the text box นะครับ that I have to use that I have to enter the amount of money, they just give us 0.00 first, so that we know this one needs to have the number นะครับ the currency with the stang or cents or decimal points as well นะครับ not just the integer parts นะครับ something like that. And number 4, require an ending stroke for every field. Ending stroke means that when you finish the field นะครับ users have to do something. For example, they may have to just like tap on another field นะครับ so that once we have the ending keystroke already นะครับ when you finish that field, the system will just like check นะครับ and validate the data นะครับ from the field that you just finished entering and just tell you the users that whether it's wrong or not นะครับ so it requires ending keystroke for every field. After that, guideline number 5 do not require users to type leading zeros for numeric fields. For example, if they want 50, they just type 50. Do not let them use like this. Okay, this is the example. If the text box, if the box is very long, and if you say that, okay, user wants just 50 items to order, they just type 50. You don't let them say that, okay, the text is long, text box is wrong, you have to put 0000 like this. No, just allow them to use just like the number that they want. If 50, they just type 50 and it should be enough. Okay, next. Do not number 6, do not require users to type trailing zeros for numbers that include decimals. For example, if they want to transfer the money 50.50, you just say that, okay, users can either enter 50.5 or 50.50 is okay, but not 50.50000 like this. No, it's too much and it makes users to annoy. Next one, number 7, display default value so operators can press the enter key to accept suggested value. For like the most frequently used values, you should prepare the default value for users first, so they can save the time in order to log in or in order to enter the data. Number 8, use default value when a field value will be constant for successive records or throughout the data entry session. Is the same thing as well. As well as number 7, suggest the default values. In case that most of the time you have the constant value, except if the users would like to change, they'll go to that field and then just choose another value instead or retype with another value instead. Now, number 9, display a list of acceptable values for fields and provide meaningful error messages. So for example, if you have the list, you should prepare the drop-down list for the user so that they can choose from the list. Or if the users have to enter the value by themselves, you should provide the messages if the error that they are, if the value that they are entering is wrong. But if it's correct, you may just have a small sign or small symbol, like this to show that it's correct already. No, this color is not good. Should be like this one. I might say that, okay, I have this one to know that it's correct already. So without telling anything, users know already that they can go to the next field. Okay, but if it's the error, you should tell the users that what should they do. After that, number 10, provide a way to leave the data entry screen at any time without entering the current record. For example, if users just enter the data halfway and somebody is calling, for example, they go to the bathroom, or their boss is calling them, and they just like will be away from the table, then you should just like let them leave the data entry screen. So that means it clear out the current records that users are entering. Sometimes they don't want it anymore. You should allow them to do so. Number 11, provide users with an opportunity to confirm the accuracy of input data before entering it. So that means when users enter any data, you leave it on the screen first. Don't just like make it invisible, because the users must check the correctness of the data that they enter, the accuracy of the data that they enter before they just enter it. The next one, number 12, provide a means for users to move among fields on the form. So users may use tab button on the keyboard, or they may just use mouse to click on another field to jump and to just like move among fields directly. Sometimes you may set the tab to work in the same set of data. But if it is going to another section of data, user has to just like click on the mouse instead, or confirm this section of data first, something like that. number 13 นะครับ design the screen form layout to match the layout of the source document นะครับ as I told you that okay when we design นะครับ the input นะครับ firstly we design the input for paper based first and after that we just transfer the kind of the form นะครับ into screen based they look similar นะครับ so that when they look similar users can use them easily นะครับ because they are familiar with the paper form นะครับ paper document that they used or they filled up before number 14 allow users to add change delete and view records นะครับ so that means the records that they enter already นะครับ is it doesn't break the rules นะครับ for the legal นะครับ they can just like delete or change the data but if นะครับ for example you have to design the system for accountants and they enter wrong data already you should have the way for them to reverse the transaction นะครับ reverse here means นะครับ they do it in accounting for example in the past they put the debit on but actually it must be a credit side then you have to provide a way for them to just like create a transaction that is credit transaction นะครับ without just like deleting the old record นะครับ because it must be the evidence for the accounting number 15 provide a method to allow users to search for specific information by having a search button for them so that they can search for specific information นะครับ in the database after that sorry this one นะครับ when we have the input screen นะครับ the next thing that we have to know is what we call input mask input mask is the way นะครับ that we just like prepare นะครับ our box นะครับ the text box in order to let the users to enter the data properly นะครับ it is a template or patterns that restrict data entry to prevent the errors for example you can see that when I talk about the amount of money that you have to enter in the iBanking นะครับ in the iBanking you can see that it puts 0.00 for you that means it tells you that okay this one you have to enter decimal points นะครับ this one it helps you in order to prevent the errors and when you have like numbers point number like 0.00 like this you have to know that okay when a user use they will not enter text or alphabets in that except the numbers นะครับ okay and if they enter the text you have to find a way in order to deal with that situation for example you will never accept that text or you will never accept that alphabets in the database because it will cause the programs นะครับ to find the sum of the value wrongly but you have to validate the data if the users are trying to enter alphabets you just like delete it out and let the cursor to blink and wait for the response or the users to enter just the number because some of the users they put dollar sign in the currency as well นะครับ in the currency box but actually the system may not want to have the dollar sign so the things that you have to do is that if the users enter dollar sign นะครับ you just have the program to check this error and then remove it out before users do anything else a mask can manipulate the input data and apply a specific format for validation rules that we need to have at least you have to think about 8 types of data validation rules to use นะครับ with the input when the users enter the data you have to validate the data like this at least 8 of them first sequence check which one comes first นะครับ which one comes next for example if we say that users enter their address but they don't enter their names you say that okay this sequence is wrong นะครับ you have to just like remind the users that they have to enter they have to enter the name first otherwise you don't allow them to go to the next page something like that existence check means that you have to check whether the users enter that value or not นะครับ enter that value or not For example, when the users would like to order the product from us, they choose the product, but they don't choose the quantity. They don't type the quantity. So you don't allow them to click on buying this product from you, because users haven't chosen number of products that they want to buy. They just choose the product number only, something like that. That is existence check. You have to check the existence of the quantity that users have to enter. Next, data type check. Data type check is like when you would like to let the users to enter phone number, you don't allow them to use special character like dash, like @ symbol or $sign นะครับ so this validation rule you use to validate that text box, and you may just like edit for your users automatically นะครับ or if you don't fix for them, just show them that okay re-enter the phone number without special character, just pop up as the error message for them นะครับ next, number 4, range check, limit check. For example, if you just like want to transfer the money and users type 1 billion bahts นะครับ transfer in the internet banking, range check here, you don't allow them to do so. You may say that okay, you can transfer up to 500,000 bahts at time only, or user just like choose the amount negative numbers to transfer the money, negative 1,000. This one นะครับ it's the range check. You have to check whether it's wrong นะครับ and then you have to let the users fix the problem. Number 5, reasonableness check. Reasonableness check means that you have to check whether the data is reasonable or not for the data that users enter. For example, users enter the gender as male นะครับ as male, but on the salutation of the users, they choose Mrs. This is unreasonable นะครับ data. Then you have to let the users to know that okay, you enter the data wrongly, please change. Or the user say that okay, their age is 12, their age is 20, let's say, but the year of birth is 1950, let's say. It's impossible นะครับ then reasonableness check, you have to just like check with them as well นะครับ the next one, validity check or referential integrity in number 6. Validity check or referential integrity check is that okay, it's the same as like if you study for database subject for the referential integrity. When you have to fill up the data, a specific data, you need to have another piece of data first. For example, if you say that okay, you would like to register for a course, if you would like to register for a course, you need to have the student ID first. Suppose you don't have a student ID นะครับ you are someone who just like want to register, we don't allow you to do so. Or another example is that okay, if you want to withdraw the money, if you want to deposit the money to the bank, you need to have bank account first. If you don't have bank account นะครับ you cannot deposit the money นะครับ to our bank, to an account of yours, because you don't have any account with us, something like that นะครับ so this one you have to check for the referential integrity. In order to deposit to the bank account นะครับ you need to have the account with us first นะครับ so it depends on your the policy of the users as well นะครับ in some cases for the referential integrity นะครับ let's give me the example. In the past, suppose okay, let's talk about two banks in Thailand นะครับ SCB and BBL นะครับ or Bangkok Bank. In the past, if you want to transfer the money from SCB to Bangkok Bank นะครับ you could transfer it นะครับ you could let me just like think another example that is better. Okay, deposit the money, not transfer, deposit the money. Suppose you have the account of SCB นะครับ and then you would like to deposit the money, the cash that you have นะครับ you had to go to SCB machine, depositing machine only นะครับ so if you go to Bangkok Bank ATM deposit machine, you couldn't deposit the money into your bank account in SCB in the past นะครับ they say that because you need to have the account with Bangkok Bank first before you can use the depositing machine. The things that you had to do is that you had to insert your ATM card into Bangkok Bank's depositing machine and then just like enter the information นะครับ enter your PIN code and after that you just choose deposit the money นะครับ you had to do 2 steps. The first one, deposit the money to your bank account in Bangkok Bank first and then transfer the money นะครับ from your Bangkok Bank's account to SCB. That was in the past. Now it's different. You don't need to have the ATM card of Bangkok Bank. If you want to if you want to deposit the money to SCB, you can go to Bangkok Bank's depositing machine and choose a menu to deposit the money to other banks, and then you choose SCB Bank with the account number. After that, you can use that deposit machine to deposit the money. This one นะครับ this one they bypass the referential integrity of having the bank account นะครับ in this case. But I mean like for other cases, the referential integrity still have นะครับ that you need to have the data first นะครับ or you need to have what to say you needed to have the bank account first before you transfer the money or before you can deposit the money, something like that นะครับ another example นะครับ that is very good thing. I'm sure that many of you have heard about an application called Mo Chana or something, right? That application allows people to just register for vaccination. What happened was นะครับ I heard from this is from the real world case. Many of our ajans, they are foreigners. And right now they are in Thailand because they cannot go out. Otherwise, they cannot just come back to teach you on time. The problem is that how can they get vaccinated? When they go, firstly, the university announced that they had to register into Mo Chana application first นะครับ and just like specify that they can have the vaccination at Golden Jubilee นะครับ medical center นะครับ at Salaya. The problem is that every of our foreigners ajahn, they said that I don't have citizen ID card, the 13 digits. How can I register into Mo Chana application? Because that one, the citizen ID number is a key. If you don't have it, you can't register. So that one is referential integrity นะครับ they check for the citizen ID card before you can do anything. So the university just solved the problem. They set up the Google form instead and let the foreign ajahns to register over that form and then just book the vaccine for all of us. Yesterday, many of foreign ajahns just like take the vaccination already, right? This one is to bypass the referential integrity. You may have to use another way to do. Because in that way, you can see that for that application, Mo Chana is the countrywide application. You cannot just change for just serve a small group of people. You may have to use another way to help instead them. Then number 7, combination check. You may in some of the data that you enter นะครับ you also have to combine many fields to go together นะครับ for example, if you choose gender as female, you have to use Miss or Mrs. นะครับ so these 2 fields come together. So apart from นะครับ apart from reasonableness check นะครับ gender can also be combination check as well นะครับ two of them and batch control or hash control some of the data that you input นะครับ they check for the batch control or hash control if it's wrong it shows the error for example citizen ID number นะครับ in Thailand the last digit is the hash control or batch control or your credit card as well นะครับ if you enter the wrong digit นะครับ just one digit only นะครับ the hash function will calculate the last digit and it reports wrongly then it just show you that okay this credit card ID is wrong นะครับ we cannot just like process this you have to just like check your credit card number once again something like that นะครับ Okay, this is the validation rules that we have to know นะครับ we need to have at least 8 type of the data validation rules นะครับ Okay, so I'll stop my lecture at this point นะครับ on the next class we will continue the rest of this module นะครับ and I will just like give you the I'll give you the case study นะครับ in order to complete this one นะครับ in order to complete this one